Three LegCo newcomers not sworn into office after using their oaths to stage anti-China protests. Andrew Leung elected the new LegCo president amid a boycott by some lawmakers. And arrangements for local Samsung Note 7 owners to get a refund or a different model.
Good evening. The swearing-in ceremony today to open the new Legislative Council term was marred by controversy. Three new legislators who altered their oaths ended up barred from voting for the new LegCo president. Elmi Leung reports.
First on the agenda of the new LegCo term was a swearing-in ceremony. James To was sworn in first, as he's the most senior member with more than 20 years' experience. While re-elected lawmaker Leung Kwok-hung read out the oath, he used the occasion to stress that the pro-democracy umbrella movement is not forgotten. Without a doubt, newly elected legislators stole the limelight, including Lau Siu-lai, who read out the oath with long pauses between words. Student activist turned legislator Nathan Law had this to say before taking his oath.
You can chain me, you can torture me, you can even destroy this body, but you will never imprison my mind.
Three incoming lawmakers had their oaths rejected. Edward Yu from the Architectural, Surveying, Planning and Landscape Functional Constituency altered the oath and inserted additional lines on defending Hong Kong's systemic justice and fighting for universal suffrage. Two others were warned for similar behavior.
I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Hong Kong nation.
Another Youngspiration member, Sixtus Leung, even wore a cape which says Hong Kong is not China.
I will uphold the basic law of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China, bear allegiance to the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China.
China is an old-fashioned Japanese term for China during World War II, which some see as derogatory. So was the mispronunciation of China intentional?
Okay, if you go to Japan, if you go to Korea, if you go to maybe my hometown, Ablichal, we speak English like that. So you can a good chance for us to practice.
We call for an apology for those words that they deliberately changed to offend Chinese people. They should withdraw what they have said.
Other pro-establishment councillors plan to seek legal advice on whether some of the oaths made today are valid. The LegCo Rules of Procedure stipulates that no member of the council shall attend a meeting or vote until he or she has made an oath in accordance with the provisions of the Oaths and Declarations Ordinance. Elmi Leung, TVB News.
Andrew Leung has been named the new president of the Legislative Council, but the voting process was boycotted by the non-establishment side, while several of them were also barred from entering the chamber. Leung's British nationality continues to be a topic of controversy. Winna Wong reports.
Dramatic scenes inside the chamber today as a number of non-establishment lawmakers decided to boycott the LegCo presidential election. Still, the procedure continued without them. With 38 votes under his name and none for his pro-democracy contender James To, Leung was announced the new president under cheers and jeers.
Fellow members, I have a heavy heart in accepting your support for me to serve as the president of the LegCo. As we can see today, this is what is happening to the new term of the LegCo.
Outside the chamber, Edward Yu, Sixtus Leung, and Yao Wai-ching were blocked from taking part in the voting because their oaths had been declared invalid by the Secretary General of the LegCo Secretariat this morning. Earlier, Leung attempted to quell all doubts about his nationality by opening a package he claimed to have just retrieved from the post office. It's an official document from the UK Home Secretary confirming Leung had renounced British nationality on September 30th. Non-establishment lawmakers have been questioning Leung's eligibility to be president because of his British passport. According to the Basic Law, the president of the Legislative Council cannot have the right of abode in any foreign country. Although Leung insists he has renounced his foreign nationality, his opponents are still not satisfied.
Because now the problem is we are not clear whether Andrew Leung has the right to live in UK. Did his process with the Home Secretary really means that he, at this moment, does not have the right to live in UK?
Some are even calling for judicial review over the issue. Wen Wang, TVB News.
Now, voting for the chairpersons of various LegCo committees also took place today. Starry Lee of the Democratic Alliance for the Betterment and Progress of Hong Kong was voted head of the House Committee, while Civic Party's Dennis Kwok will be her vice chairman. As for the Finance Committee, Chen Kim-por was voted chairman once again.
Samsung Electronics Hong Kong has issued a recall for its Galaxy Note 7 smartphone sold locally or in Macau. Note 7 owners can get a refund or a different model of Samsung phone until the end of the year. Caleb Leung reports.
Beginning today until December 31st, 2016, Note 7 owners can either get a full refund or exchange their phone for another Samsung model. If a consumer chooses the phone exchange option, Samsung will also compensate the price difference and give the consumer a gift as well. Official side products of the Note 7 can also be returned for a refund or another product. Consumers who bought their phones from authorized dealers in Hong Kong and Macau should take the phones back to the point of purchase. They also need to take along the original packaging, the accessories, and the receipt. For those who have lost the original packaging, the manufacturer says they should contact Samsung's customer service or the dealership. Meanwhile, some dealers have already arranged their own recall before Samsung's announcement. The manufacturer urged Note 7 owners to contact those dealers for details. Caleb Leung, TVB News.
In Afghanistan, at least 17 people were killed after a gunman opened fire on worshippers gathered at a shrine in the capital, Kabul. Witnesses say a gunman wearing a security uniform stormed into the shrine just before 8 p.m. on Tuesday and began shooting everyone inside. Only one gunman was involved, and he was shot and killed by police. Another 31 people were wounded in the Saki Shrine attack. The gunman targeted one of Kabul's largest shrines right as Shiite Muslims gathered to observe the Ashura holy day. That's when followers marked the 7th century death of a grandson of the Prophet Muhammad.
Russian jets have resumed heavy bombing of rebel-held eastern Aleppo in Syria after several days of relative calm. Human rights observers say the airstrikes killed at least 8 people. Moscow and Damascus reduced air raids in the northern city last week. The Syrian army said that was partly aimed at allowing civilians to leave opposition-held neighborhoods. The Syrian government said rebels holed up in Aleppo could leave with their families if they lay down their arms. Insurgents denounced the offer as a deception.
And still ahead in our newscast, Premier Li Keqiang wraps up his 3-day visit to Macau. Britain and China to more than double the number of flights between the two countries. And Obama pushes a U.S. plan to send humans to Mars by the 2030s.
There are times when we just can't help ourselves. Hong Kong Tennis Open 2016. Tonight after the news roundup and live from Friday to Sunday.
用批准嬰兒用品，夠高級，夠齊全 ，BB 開心，媽咪放心。
It's time I let technology wrap me in its warm embrace.
Friday. Social media is all fun and games.
Castle 2.0.
Until someone...
She's a web celebrity.
...stalks the internet.
Those are clues. Clues to what?
His next murder.
Friday. Castle. Season 7 at 10:40 on Pearl.
Welcome back. Premier Li Keqiang praised Macau's ability to diversify its economy before wrapping up his 3-day visit to the enclave. Caleb Lung with details.
During the last day of his visit to Macau, Premier Li Keqiang met with former Macau Chief Executive Edmund Ho, senior Macau government officials, lawmakers, as well as people from different sectors of the community. Li told them the enclave still has a lot of development potential. He added that, despite a slump in the gambling industry impacting the economy, the former Portuguese colony did recognize the importance of diversifying its economy. The premier also highlighted that the city's food, tourism, and Chinese medicine industry had showed signs of rigorous development. Li visited some of Macau's famous tourist sites during his stay, including the ruins of St. Paul's. He also paid a visit to some local residents' homes. The premier reaffirmed the central government's support for the one country, two systems principle, as well as a high degree of autonomy for Hong Kong and Macau. Caleb Leung, TVB News.
A woman died from complications last week after giving birth to her baby. Secretary for Food and Health, Ko Wing-man, said authorities are concerned about the woman's case, but he also stressed the standard of obstetrics and gynecology practice here in Hong Kong is very high. Evelina Lung tells us more.
The 26-year-old woman, who was 37 weeks pregnant, had been going for regular prenatal checkups at Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Last Thursday, when she went in for a checkup, doctors found that she had high blood pressure and abnormal amounts of protein in her urine. Doctors arranged for an immediate labor augmentation. The baby was delivered safely that night. However, after the operation, the woman suffered from excessive bleeding. Doctors performed surgery on her, but her condition worsened. The patient developed a condition where blood clots are formed, reducing or blocking blood flow through the blood vessels, which led to severe bleeding in her uterus. After consulting her family, doctors removed the affected organ. The patient was put in the intensive care unit afterwards and underwent 2 more surgical operations on Friday to stop internal bleeding. At the time, she was suffering from multiple organ failure. On Sunday, the patient's condition worsened and she underwent surgery again to stop the bleeding. However, the woman died during the operation. Secretary for Food and Health, Ko Wing-man, said these incidents are very rare. He stressed the city has a high standard of practice in obstetrics and gynecology. The health chief said it is now up to the coroner's court to determine the actual cause of death. He added that Queen Elizabeth Hospital is also conducting an internal investigation into the incident. Evelyn Lang, TVB News.
Retiring Deputy Police Chief Tony Wong has urged officers to remain impartial when carrying out their duties. He also named the 2014 Occupy Central protests as one of the biggest challenges of his career. Anne-Marie Sim has more.
After serving on the force for more than 3 decades, Deputy Commissioner of Police Tony Wong will retire on Saturday.
I would thank the force for all this nurturing, throughout my 35 years of police service, and all the opportunities, the trust given to me, so that I am able to be what I am today.
During his long career, the 57-year-old has witnessed a lot of Hong Kong's key developments. One of them is the Occupy Central movement of 2014. On September 28th, officers fired tear gas when protesters tried to break through a police cordon to reach the main protest area at Tamar. Wong had just been promoted to Deputy Commissioner that month. He noted that the Occupy movement was one of the biggest challenges of his career, and he believes it affected the relationship between the force and the public. In retrospect, Wong maintained that the decision to use tear gas was necessary and within international standards, but conceded the situation could have been handled a bit better. He suggested that maybe in a similar situation, officers could give clearer warnings before firing the tear gas. The veteran officer also had words of advice for new recruits.
They must remain neutral when dealing with when discharging their duties. And I think that, while enforcing the laws, they should also be compassionate, fair and impartial, so that they will be able to complete their tasks in the most satisfactory manner.
Wong is not eyeing a new life in the private sector and doesn't believe he's got what it takes to enter politics. Instead, he plans to spend his retirement learning to play a musical instrument and doing volunteer work on the mainland. Anne-Marie Sim, TVB News.
The British and Chinese governments have reached an agreement to more than double the number of flights between the two countries. Under the deal, the number of passenger flights will go up from the current maximum of 40 per week for each nation to as many as 100. Both countries also agreed to remove the limit on the number of cargo flights. They will also lift restrictions on the number of destinations airlines can serve within each country. Currently, their planes can only fly to 6 designated cities on the other side. A British transport official says raising the number of permitted flights will provide massive opportunities for businesses, and this will help increase trade, create jobs, and boost the economy.
As U.S. President Barack Obama winds down his 8 years in office, he's making one final push to send humans to Mars by the 2030s. A former NASA expert breaks down the reality. Every president yearns to leave a lasting legacy, and Obama has set his sights high, literally. He wants to be the president who set in motion human travel to Mars. But a former NASA expert under the George W. Bush administration calls the idea impractical.
Landing on the Martian surface by the 2030s is not, in my view, a realistic goal. But the technical challenges and the budgetary challenges of building a vehicle to go down to the Martian surface, survive, and come back up, I think are pretty daunting.
Obama expressed his lofty goal in an op-ed on CNN's website. In it, he called attention to building partnerships between the U.S. government and commercial companies to develop spacecraft capable of carrying out this extraterrestrial mission. There's also a plan to allow visitors extended time on the red planet. 6 companies were awarded contracts to build habitats capable of sustaining life in deep space. But Scott Pace warns of major obstacles, starting with building a spaceship large enough.
Landing something that large safely on Mars is really difficult because Mars actually is a quite irritating planet. That is, it's large enough that it has a strong gravity field such that if you try to land solely with rockets, a heavy payload requires a lot of fuel to land, and it's quite expensive to do it that way.
The size of Mars poses another challenge.
Mars is small, and it has a very thin atmosphere, so it's hard to use a parachute. That is, a parachute for a heavy payload might be several times the size of a football stadium.
Pace insists returning to the moon instead of going to Mars makes more sense for both commerce and international cooperation. Obama didn't elaborate on how much a Mars mission would cost or how to fund it. He plans to discuss that and more at tomorrow's Innovation Summit in Pittsburgh. All right, Chris, I'm excited about the tennis action you have for us today.
Let's get you straight there then. At the Hong Kong Tennis Open, Jelena Jankovic topped Alexandra Krunic in second-round action this afternoon. The 7th-seeded Jankovic dispatched her fellow Serb. Scores were 6-4, 6-3, and this match lasted just under an hour and a half. Another action this afternoon at Victoria Park. Rain interrupted play in the second set of the match between Angelique Kerber and Luisa Chirico. The top-seeded Kerber took the first set 6-2, but Chirico was leading the second 5-3 when the skies opened. To Major League Baseball, and the Chicago Cubs moved a step closer to ending their century-old World Series drought with a dramatic come-from-behind victory over the San Francisco Giants. Alan Booknia has the action.
San Francisco starter Matt Moore did his job, holding the Cubs to just 2 runs over 8 innings, including this solo shot by David Ross that tied the score at 1 in the 3rd inning. The Giants built a 5-2 lead over Cubs starter John Lackey that held up into the 9th. That's when things fell apart. Ben Zobrist got things started with an RBI double off Sergio Romo that scored Chris Bryant. 5-3 San Francisco.
Bryant scores easily.
The Giants went through 4 relievers in the inning. Javier Baez drove in the go-ahead run off Will Smith, scoring Jason Hayward from 3rd base.
Chicago has taken a 6-5 lead.
Cubs closer Aroldis Chapman closed out the win in the bottom of the 9th.
And after the game, even on the mound there, was they're taking the photographs, the guys are chanting, we don't quit, we don't quit. We don't quit. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, you hear that all the time, and I know everybody says it, but you have to actually live it. And I have to tell you, I mean, I've seen it so many times from this group.
It's a weird feeling, it is. I mean, it just ends so abruptly, and especially the way he ended, you know, that's kind of tough on all these guys. I mean, they played so well today.
The Cubs will play the winner of the Los Angeles Dodgers-Washington Nationals series. The Dodgers knotted that series at 2 games apiece earlier in the day. Alan Booknia, TVB News.
Italy's Olympic Committee suspended Rome's bid for the 2024 Olympics after staunch opposition from the city's mayor. It has left open the possibility of a revival of the candidacy if there's a change in the city's government. Giovanni Malago, the head of the Italian National Olympic Committee, said he wrote a letter to the IOC to interrupt the candidacy. The move comes after Rome City Council voted last month to withdraw support for the bid on the recommendation of Mayor Virginia Raggi. Rome's withdrawal would leave only Los Angeles, Paris, and Budapest in the running for the 2024 Games. The IOC will select the host city in September 2017. Juventus and Italy captain Gianluigi Buffon was crowned the winner of the Golden Foot yesterday. Buffon saw off competition from Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo to snag the award. At a ceremony in Monaco attended by Prince Albert, the Juventus stopper collected the trophy that is voted for by fans. Now the Golden Foot is handed out to players aged 28 or over and is based on their athletic achievements and personality.
And that's going to do it for us in the newsroom.
Good night.
Allergic to boredom? Then this theme park's for you. See impossible creatures at the Jumbo Mini Zoo.
Small animals become large, large animals become small.
Take the Bush Runner Challenge.
Run, 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 run!
Oh, okay. And make a deal with an eel.
Show me that 1,000-watt smile. Do it now!
Saturday, Journey to the Mysterious Island on Pearl's weekend blockbuster. The Force.
It's pretty impressive. Yeah, I taught him.
The Empire.
Angle deflector shields and follow my lead.
And the Dark Side.
It's obviously a trap.
We have to do this.
Sunday, Lego Star Wars presents Star Wars Rebels Season 2 at 8 on Pearl.
The 50th anniversary of the Macau Motorcycle Grand Prix, the second GT World Cup, the Gia Race, and the proving ground of new legends, the FIA Formula 3 World Cup. This is Motorsport, the Sun City Group 63rd Macau Grand Prix.
Everyone living today is a mutant.
How have our genes affected history?
This gave the Mongols a great advantage. They may have only had 100,000 soldiers, but every soldier was a warrior.
Tonight, the evolution of us at 9:35 on Pearl.
Good evening. The weather was mainly cloudy with occasional rain. As tonight's situation chart shows, the northeast monsoon is affecting southern China. Up to 5 p.m., temperatures range from 23 to 25.8 degrees, and the relative humidity was between 76 and 91%. Moderate to fresh northeasterly winds, occasionally strong offshore and on high ground. The current temperature is now 25 degrees Celsius, with the relative humidity standing at 80%. 0.7 millimeters of rainfall has been recorded since midnight. So, Freddie, how's the weather tomorrow?
Oh.
It will be mainly cloudy. 1 or 2 rain patches tonight and tomorrow morning. Sunny periods during the day tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 24 and 28 degrees. Expect mainly fine weather in the next